I'm going to put them behind me. Now, for this next section, what I would like to do is just discuss some other books that, in case you don't like any of the choices I have, make your own. The prompts are for you to do what you will to grab onto your shelves. But for any reason you just want suggestions, I'm going to give us some additional recommendations. Interesting books, and I'll have to review the prompts again to see what I'll try to work in. Very nice. Again, I'm going to do a better job today. I think I'm just going to do it today. I'm going to put the prompt slides out, the last two that I have, that's in summary, in the post section. And then for anyone that also has Instagram, I do that there as well. But I'm excited. DL, this sounds like a great readathon. Thank you. I'm loving it. I'm enjoying it. And what I do for each book review, I really just do like a short book review. And if I have to do like a little spoiler section, I will. And then at the very end, that's when I tie in how the book relates to the character. I'll reflect on, why does this character have this book? Because, I have the prompt, but I try to dig into what stood out to me in the situations and the prose themes of the book that I kind of teased out because now I've read the book, or maybe in case that doesn't happen. All right. So we are going to discuss recommendations for the Interview the Vampire Inspired Readathon, 7 books on Madeleine ÉPARVIER'S bookshelf. And I'm pretty sure I'm saying her last name wrong. Here we go. All right, so the first one is She Engages in Social Taboos. Okay, the book that I'm going to talk about next, very briefly, this is a book that I read. I made myself finish it. It's not bad. It's the opposite. The writing is so good, but the narrative itself is like beyond the boundary that I'm comfortable with. So proceed with caution, and that is Slugs. Slugs by Megan Milks. There's some of it I'm not even sure how to talk about, but there's definitely like kinks and some other things that I couldn't tell if it was a kink or what was going on, violence. There's a lot going on in this, and they're all short stories. And this also talks about like transformation in a way. It was all the things. If you like the writing of Chuck Palahniuk, you're going to like this. This is too much for me. It was dizzying. And so, for example, it says a woman metamorphoses into a giant slug. Another quite literally eats her heart out. A wasp falls in love with an orchid, and hair starts sprouting from the walls. These stories slip and slide between mediums, from video games to fan fiction, body horror to choose your own adventure, as characters cycle through giddy changes in gender, physiology, species, and identity. So, wild book. The wildest book I've ever read. So much so I didn't know how to rate it. So, which is another reason why I'm not a big fan of ratings, because sometimes I'm just thinking to myself, I don't even know how to discuss this book. All right, She Doesn't Lament the Past. Wait a minute. Nope. Take that back. I have one more. I forgot. It's recommendations. I have one more than book. Yeah. Yeah, sounds like my kind of party. Yeah, you could probably handle that. There was a lot going on in my mind. Did I just go the other way? Yes, I did. Social Taboos. I just wanted to bring up one other book, and that is The Death of Vivek Oji, I think is how you say it. Akweke Emezi is an incredible writer. They write all sorts of different genres. They've put out lots of books, romance, literary fiction, somewhat horror. I don't know. And this really stood out to me as a book that I genuinely love. And so if you have not stepped into Akweke's world, this is the time. And it says, one afternoon in a town in southeastern Nigeria, a mother opens her front door to discover her son's body, wrapped in colorful fabric, at her feet. What follows is a tumultuous, heart-wrenching story of one family's struggle to understand a child whose spirit is both gentle and mysterious, raised by a distant father and a compassionate but overprotective mother. Vivek Oji suffers disorienting blackouts, moments of disconnection between self and surrounding. As adolescent leads to adulthood, Vivek finds solace in friendship with the warm, boisterous daughters of the Nigerian wives, foreign born women married to Nigerian men. But Vivek's closest bond is with Osita, the worldly, high spirited cousin whose teasing confidence masks a guarded private life. And so this is a beautiful, beautiful book that blew me away. And I thought, I got to bring this up again. All right, now for reals now. Now I'm moving on to the next one. She Doesn't Lament the Past. I brought this up recently at a book tag, and I'm bringing it up again. The Legends of Lattes. The first cozy book I've ever read. Can't believe how much I love this book. It's definitely a book, because it's a cozy read, you know, everything's going to work out, chill vibes. But if you love D&D, you're going to like this. It's about a character that's an orc, and it's kind of like after they've gone on a D&D adventure, right? And this character decides, you know what? I want to change my life. I've done enough of this fighting thing. I want to open a cafe. And so they really have to build, not just build the store from the ground up, but they have to engage with community from the ground up. And also, as there's this reconstruction or this building of the cafe, that's something that I guess you could say metaphorically the character is going through as well. How do you move through life when there's a problem and you realize you can't go to the same solutions that you once did? How's a different way to look at strength than the ways you've always depicted and enacted strength? That's really worked. I also write erotica, and I wrote a Rapunzel-based retelling that integrates a Native American mythical spider deity. I'm Native, so I really enjoyed writing it. It will be in an anthology. Oh, Edgins and Lattes sounds cool. It's very cool. By the way, I want to read that. I'm reading it. Yeah, it's so cute. I can understand why so many people love this. But I also feel like, because it's a cozy read, it's like, how do you explain that? When you pick up this book, just remember it's not action. It's not that at all, you know. Survive World War II. I just wanted to make a suggestion really quick to the book that I haven't read. I've labeled this my white whale because it's been on my shelf so long. And I just haven't had a chance to get to it. It's The Tunnel. Look how big that is. So daunting. One day I'll do it. One day. This is I'm just gonna read this in the back because I wouldn't know how to summarize it. I haven't read it yet. 30 years in the making, William H. Gass' second novel first appeared in the literary scene in 95, at which time it was promptly hailed as an indisputable masterpiece. It is a story of a middle-aged professor upon completion of his massive historic study, Guilt and Innocence in Hitler's Germany. Set out to write an introduction. Unable to do so, he finds himself writing about his own life instead, an intensely personal, even private book that runs counter to the rigidity of his work, his historical work. Isolated, he begins digging a tunnel out of the basement where he writes. Yeah, the tunnel is a thick boy. And I just can't. It's like, that's why it's been on my shelf so long, especially since I put myself on a schedule and I read one book a week. I just have not had a chance to make it happen. And last year, I had it as one of the last books to read at the end of the year, and it just didn't happen. And I put it back on my shelf, but it's not going anywhere because I'm determined to read this at some point. All right, more suggestions for She's Trying to Survive the Delusions of Others. One of them you probably heard me talk about too much, but I'm going to bring it up anyways. And that is Ngugi wa Thiong'o's Decolonizing the Mind, The Politics of Language in African Literature. I don't know why I have this sticky note on here. This is a very teeny tiny book, but it packs a punch. And if you've read any of the author's fiction or nonfiction, this is basically like the framework or the blueprint for everything that he writes. This is an author that I want to read more of. So on the back it says he is now regarded by young generations as probably the most important contemporary writer from the African continent. He wrote his first novel and plays in English, Weep Not, Child, The River Between, Grain of Wheat and Petals of Blood, together with plays such as The Black Hermit and The Trial of Dedan, have added luster to the English tradition. However, even before his detention without trial in Kenya during 1978, he was determined to write in uh, Gikuyu so that ordinary people could understand his work. The novel, which he later translated into English as Devil on the Cross, became a popular success with people reading it aloud in bars. The original Gikuyu edition of the play, I Will Marry When I Want, emerged from his work with Ngugi wa Miri at the Kimimeridu Community Center, which was destroyed by Ascaris in March 1982. And so, what stood out to me in this book that I'll say, if you do decide to pick it up or, grab it from your library, is that he really speaks to spaces, how spaces have been colonized and how like they can be decolonized, and actually how theater can be like an act of protest in a way, right? So I will forever love this book. And I think this is also, I'm like, which one's what? Nope, I'm still on this one. Okay, I had to make sure. All right, Invisible Monster. This is also a wild book. And speaking of bringing up Chuck Palahniuk, I don't know what to say about this. This is also one of those wild books I read. So if you're interested in slugs, you'll also be interested in Invisible Monsters. Even more fun to read than the first time around because this is a remix. I'm just going to read it because I don't know how else to sum this up. Injected with new material and a topsy-turvy structure, this revised director's cut turns a daring satire on beauty and the fashion industry into an even more wild reading experience, fulfilling Chuck Palahniuk's original vision of the novel. On this thrill ride, we meet a fashion model who leads a charmed life until a sudden accident leaves her disfigured and unable to speak. Enter Brandy Alexander, Queen Supreme, who will teach her that nothing is ever quite what it seems. And this is an intensely fast-paced book, bizarre, almost teetering on I can't believe I read that. All right, Pushes Against Despair. This time around, I wanted to mix into hold on, let me catch up. Sounds like a great book. I must get a copy. Yeah, oh, yes, definitely. Invisible Monster, no. You will, I'm telling you, DL, I can't, when you read Invisible Monster, if you haven't, we gotta chat. We gotta chat. Because it's incredible. Lynn, I absolutely have to get around to reading books by Ngugi wa Thiong'o. None of my libraries, but I'll check the university library. Yes, there's one book, I think I've talked about it before, his nonfiction. It's kind of more a memoir that I haven't read yet. And I'm just like, I think I'm just going to have to I might have to get a copy because I'll slow read it, but I really want to read about his time in jail because he said the book that he is more well known for that I've read, he said that they wouldn't give him paper, so he just used their toilet paper because the toilet paper there is like rough. And so I just admire that there's this person, and no matter what space or like circumstances people put him in, he was just like, "You're not going to stop me. I'm in jail because of a play. I'm gonna keep writing my plays." I thought that's like the most badass thing. Oh, okay, so pushing against despair. This is a manga. I don't read manga or manga that often, and I want to read more. But this book happened to really steal my heart. It's so sweet, and it's my brother's husband. It is so cute. So this is a brother. This is the husband. His brother passed away, so he's a widower and comes to Japan to spend some time with the family. And so we kind of just see how we get to explore this family bonding together. There's like a little bit of like cultural differences as well, and as well as the brother of the no, 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 the brother of the deceased kind of still grappling with looking back and realizing he wasn't really as supportive as he should have been to his brother who was gay, and also discusses how I guess in the Japanese culture how it's still taboo, or at least when this comic came out. That's also what the author is exploring because the author is also gay, and so it's just like a family mending and mourning, loving each other, and also just pushing past despair, but like through their connection. And I thought it was really, really beautiful. Yeah, this is honestly like one of the cutest covers, and I'm not getting rid of this. I'm just gonna return to it. This is definitely gonna be a book I return to again and again because it's very sweet. Just, yeah, so cute. It's a very touching story, and I zipped through it because it was so good. All right, Entangled by a Nefarious Scheme. My book recommendation will be The Color of Law. Steph from Coffee Over Apples did a review of this book, and she's really great at creating condensed breakdowns, gets right to the point more than I do because I'm more of a meandering type. But this is a book I haven't read yet, but I think it fits well into this prompt. A Forgotten History of How Our Government Segregated America by Richard Rothstein. And so on the back it says, heralded as a masterful Washington Post and essential by Slate, History of the Modern American Metropolis. The Color of Law is a groundbreaking investigation into how U.S. government in the 20th century deliberately imposed racial segregation on metropolitan areas nationwide. Lauded by Ta-Nehisi Coates for his brilliant and fine understanding of the machinery of government policy, Richard Rothstein has painstakingly documented how our cities from San Francisco to Boston become so divided, and kind of goes on from there. But I have that one, gonna get to that soon. Yeah, it's gonna be a while for me, as you know. But again, it's like one of those books that's on my shelf, and I'm just thinking, I need to get to it. Dangerous Love. Okay, so this is the last prompt, and I'm gonna have to expand myself here to make this work because it's too many. This is just a recommendation. I do not expect everyone to go out and like buy all these. I would say go to your library. But I did want to keep suggesting a little more comics into the mix, and I would say Saga, because because I have all, I think 11 of them right now. 11. If you are not a comic book reader, you're gonna love Saga. If you are a comic book reader, you're gonna love Saga. This is, in short, I think the go-to way to describe this is Star Wars, uh, galactic soap opera meets Romeo and Juliet type thing. And so we have these two characters on the cover, the very first one. Sorry, Matt, I still have that up. Alana and her husband. My brain is fried. I can't think of anyone's name. Alana and Marco. They are from different planets, and their planets are the original ones that started a war. And the war just, it's never ended, and it's gone so bad that other planets are involved. So now there's this intergalactic proxy war. And so there's been like a whole generation of people that have gone through this. And what happens with that? Propaganda. So he was actually, Marco was a prisoner, she was a soldier. They fall in love. And they also fall in love with their connection of literature, actually. And so this is actually for anyone that also has kids or has been a parent or guardian in any capacity, because this is also an outlet for the author to talk about parenting stuff. He feels like he can't talk to other people that don't have kids, you know? And so they fall in love and they are on the run because this relationship cannot last. The powers that be that want this politicking and war to continue cannot let people know that actually if these two people, for instance, sleep together, they could actually have kids because of propaganda. And anything to do with war and like the machinations of war, the machinery, the, what do you call it, the spoke on the cog that continues, is discussed in the series as well. And it blows me away. This, anything this author writes, actually, Brian K. Vaughan is incredible, and I wish he would get more shine. So yeah, that is my last suggestion. I believe I don't think I have anything else for that. So yes, here are the prompts again, and here are all the books that I'm going to be reading. But yeah, let me know what you think. If you have any other suggestions, that would be lovely. I just finished 2 books by Simone Sollenhag, Tales from the Loop and Things from the Flood. Well, there isn't much to read. More incredible artwork. Yeah. Let me know how you like that. What is that one about? I'm trying to remember why I have these books here. I have all this stuff everywhere. All right. So we've gone through the bookshelves, prompts, recommendations. Now the next segment is going to be Storygraph. So I'm just going to add the readathon live in case, not just for me, but if anyone wants to know how to do that in Storygraph, you'll know how to do that now. And you know what? Let's see if I even remember how to do that. My cats are crying up a storm, so I am going to go ahead and open up. Can you hear them? They are so naughty. Hold on one second. Okay. Come on. They're gonna figure it out.